Bring the action. Welcome to Season 6, Round 4, Blue Lobby feature race. So, taking up pole position on a 52.9 Chaos Druid on those soft tyres. Earned the pole position in this one because he's less than a tenth of a second ahead of P2's Ziggy in his Porsche 911, which is married up with Lee in third place on a 53 flat as well. So both of the Porsche drivers very close together, looking to take advantage of those good starting positions, all three of them into turn 1. Closely followed by our very own Sarah Hawkey on the 53.2, barely 2 tenths off the pole position, looking for a good result. But in P5 and P6, two medium runners, Piper in 5th on the 53.3 and Big Crazy Bertie on the 53.4, 3 and 4 tenths respectively off pole position. So great qualifying from those pair there, looking strategically towards the future, looking good. Then P7 in that fast starting Ferrari 458, it will be lightning off the line, so something to watch out for. Murph in P8 in that 4C and a 53.5, very respectable, good luck to him in the race. Then in 9th, Dejan Cypher in his Supra at 53.6, also on medium tyres. Then Sparky, P10, 53.7. Then P10 on medium tyres, Sparky in his 296 on the 53.7. Hassler taking up 11th place today on the 54 flat medium tyres. And then P12, Super Simon on medium tyres on the 55.5 in his RX Vision. Well, what can I say? This is an interesting track for us in a feature race. It's one of our shortest tracks we've ever done, but I think pound for pound is going to be a lot of action in this track. Not too many corners, not too many overtaking possibilities, but down into turn 1, off the start line, off the main straight, it's going to be one where all the drivers are going to be aiming for. Through the twisty middle section, it's going to be a bit more tricky for overtakes, but you're going to see a lot of side-by-side close racing. Personally, I'm going to be keeping an eye on, I think, Big Crazy Bertie and Piper in this one. They are both well positioned for a good result in this one, those medium tyres to start with. But we have noted that the soft tyres do go quite well around here for a long time, so you have to wait and see if it's worth going for those medium tyres. But that said, all drivers have to use both sets of tyres, or 2 different sets of tyres, to get through the race to satisfy the 2 tyre rule. So, that in mind, let's see how our commentators feel about this one, and get on with the racing.
Okay, as we see the red lights, 5 red lights now, and away we go. And it's Druid from P1 getting a really good start, already up a few positions, and Damo as well, moving up to P3. I think the timetables are not showing up correctly, as we see League, Cypher just going up the inside. And that is Lee dropping to the back of the grid. Wow, I mean, they were basically going 3 wide through turn 1, and I really wasn't expecting that to happen already in lap 1, but yeah, an unfortunate accident there. Simon goes off the track as well. has been quite eventful already, hasn't it, Midnight?
Certainly has. We've got a couple of side-by-sides as well. We've got Sarah and Damo side-by-side. Damo getting a cracking start off that grid, that 4th of 8, really lighting up. And Sparky now taking advantage of that fight with Damo and Sarah, and unfortunately letting her back in out of the pit lane. But yeah, that was an interesting start. Sad our sprint victor ended up off the track there for a while, so that would be unfortunate for the lead. We'll see how we can get back into this race. But out front, we do have Druid holding pole position down into turn 1, so keeping that first on the grid around the lap, with Ziggy hot on his heels. And now, hopefully, all the drivers have got that first lap antics out of the way. And whew, here we go then. We're off again. Oh, Damo!
Oh, Damo! And Murph!
What happened there, Pedro?
Oh! Well, I'm just going to try and check with our trackside reporter. But I think... Well, so Damo ran wide, hit the gravel, and spun. And I think there was contact between Kirk and Murph there.
That is unfortunate. That might be one for the stewards afterwards. I was just saying, hopefully the first lap antics are out of the way. Turns out we've got the second lap antics this week. But out the front, we do have Ziggy challenging for the lead. Both drivers on the soft tyre. Druid having a great pole lap around here today. And on his first race back with us after a few off, it's good to see him out front and enjoying his racing again. It's great to see. But he's going to have to fend off our very own Ziggy for, well, these medium tyres. They can go up to about 20, if not 30 laps in some cases, so it's not really a battle that runs and runs.
Yeah, I think in here strategy is probably going to play a big factor into the whole overtaking aspect, because as we've also discussed in the sprint, it's so difficult to overtake around this track that you're basically going to spend the least amount of time possible in the pits. I know it sounds a bit obvious, but in this case it does really make a difference. Even if you just, let's say, if you spend a less couple of seconds there because you have more fuel or anything, could play into your favor massively.
Quite right, and this is a weird track. If you go for the soft tyres first and then you go for a big fuel load, you can end up a lap down. The track is so short, so you don't want to be being wave blue flags. So you're challenging for the victory. It's such an odd concept, but still, it's one that the drivers are going to have to navigate by themselves. We do see a spinner.
And Cypher as well.
That was Druid, that was our race leader.
That was Druid, yeah.
Oh, he was looking so good as well, split clear after that pole lap. Will he come in and repair that damage?
Oh, that was so unfortunate for Druid. I mean, that part of the track is bumpy, and it's so easy if you under braking just for the car to get a little bit light and you lose control. Oh man, that was looking really good for Druid up until that point. Unfortunate, but I'd say that he might have to change his strategy and go for a pit stop, because not having that front arrow is going to cost him quite a lot of time.
Yeah, he's going to have to navigate that strategic choice there, but hell of a drive again so far from Lee, up to P5. How has he managed that? I mean, he's taken advantage of everyone else having incidents around him, and somehow he's got up to there. And oh, Kirk, he has got big damage. We haven't seen it. That must have been from the tangle with Murph and Damo earlier, as Lee makes a move on Bertie down into turn 1. So Kirk, again, another one of these drivers who are carrying an injury in that car, a bit like Druid. So some drivers can drive around it, Pedro. I've never been one that's been able to do it, but some drivers it just doesn't affect. We saw it last season with Sophia in a couple of races. Can drive around the car and still be damn quick. So we have to see what Kirk can do, Druid can do in that same issue. But out front, Sarah Hawkey has taken the lead somewhere off Ziggy. That's interesting.
Yeah, just going into turn 1. So Sarah basically got a better exit out of the final corner in lap 5 and managed to get ahead of Ziggy by the time they went into turn 1 on lap 6.
And setting the fastest lap in process. So, wow, that was not on my card. So she was a good few lengths behind Ziggy the previous lap. Perhaps that was a result of Druid being tangled up in the previous lap and having to get out of the throttle. Interesting. And we have a pit stopper, do we there?
I think so, it's Cypher.
There was front end damage as well. So, okay, he's perhaps changing strategies or just changing tyres. Yeah, change strategies, putting in fuel in as well. But he's going to go a lap down, which is very awkward. Around here, he's going to emerge right in front of the leaders, but he's on fresh medium tyres, so maybe he can pull away. Sarah leading the race, and Ziggy in his Porsche, which he is loving at the moment, directly behind Sparky. In a very, very good P3 at the moment, followed by Lee. So, very early to tell already. Only lap 8, Pedro. I think this is wide open for the victory for a number of drivers. But still lots to go on as we do see Kirk now zeroing in on the back of Bertie. So, any insights and thoughts of what to expect, or should we just be waiting to see what happens and see what we can surmise with people's strategy going forwards?
Well, I mean, I think it's a little bit early in the race to maybe say that, but between Sarah and Ziggy and Lee now just setting the fastest lap as well, I think they were probably the three main contenders I have, at least from what we've seen in the sprint going into this race. Obviously not discrediting anyone else, because I think everyone was pretty solid in that sprint race. But, I mean, anything can happen, and as we've seen, all it takes is one small mistake to get some damage and, change the whole outcome of the race. But, I mean, yeah, I'd say Sarah and Ziggy are in prime position at the moment because they were looking pretty phenomenal in terms of the race management in the sprint. And even Lee just shows that the fact that he came from the back of the grid in lap 1, it's lap 9 and he's already looking to possibly get into that podium position, snatching it away from Sparky, does show that he's still willing to give it his best and possibly cause a few issues for Sarah and Ziggy up front.
Yeah, quite right. Sparky looking deceptively good at the moment. He's hanging with
absolutely
on the harder tyre, but he's now at the point where he's holding up Lee. Oh, that was, I'll give it to him, it was ambitious, but he saw the gap there. Sparky was a little bit wide late on the brakes into the corner, and you could never give Lee, 6 inches of space, let alone 2 metres, and he took it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, because I just spotted now that he's on the mediums, and he's holding on pretty nicely, Sparky. Bit of a curious fact, I'm not sure if this is just like the timetables deceiving me or not, but Sparky and Bertie set the exact same lap time on lap 9.
Well, that's a curious little fact, and I love it.
And also Ziggy, sorry, I won't dwell too much into this, but Ziggy also set the same time in laps 2 and 4. How interesting is this? It's so difficult. Like, sometimes we just think, like, how difficult it is to just set the same lap time twice.
I'll tell you what, that's definitely a stat that Crofty would love.
Yeah.
I love it. But the race is at that point, it is calming down a little bit. I think it's time we can start thinking strategy. These soft tyres, they get to a point where they will start dropping off, as we saw from the sprint race, which was 16 laps. It was there or thereabouts, the softs were getting past their best. But they can go an awful long way into this race. It's at that point, it's that the question we always ask, when does the mediums become the premium tyre to be on? I would hazard, it's not yet, but it's getting close to that point. But Sparky running a P4, I think he's got to be the main threat for the leaders at the moment, since he's on that medium tyre, the highest medium tyre runner. But then again, Bertie's directly behind him, so he's in contention as well. And Bertie, much more efficient on fuel as well, so that will give him a much shorter pit stop when we eventually get round to it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Kirk is right behind Bertie, even though he has damage. He's not looking too bad either. I mean, it's everything to play for at the moment. As you were saying, yeah, I think Sarah might be in the worst position at the moment just because of her tire wear. Her fuel is looking significantly worse compared to the drivers around her, but we have seen that she has the pace and she can be extremely consistent as well. But yeah, I'd say in regards to the mediums, I reckon this lap or probably the next lap we're going to start seeing or getting to that crossover period. And I think, is that Murphy in the pits?
It is indeed. And Kirk got by into P5, got past Bertie in turn 1 as well. But I think Murph's going to be an anomaly when it comes to the pit stops. The sheer fact he has damage, so I suspect he's come in a bit early, even for the soft tyre runners. But he's going to filter out right behind, in between the battle of 5th and 6th. It's a curiosity around this place. That that racing line and the pit to exit isn't exactly the same spot. It's always a bit awkward, isn't it?
Yeah, and even the pit lane entry can come across the same line you'd normally take at the exit of the last corner. So yeah, it's a bit tricky to navigate around here at times.
Big hit. Sparky and Kirk together through the corner, and that is more damage for Kurt. Bertie gets back past the pair of them. That's actually quite interesting. How did Sparky end up in the same bit of track as Kirk? He was quite a bit of distance down the road. Is that a mistake that has put him on the back foot into the path of Kirk? I didn't really see what happened there, unfortunately, but Sparky with big damage, Kirk with even more damage, and well, Bertie will be laughing all the way to P4 at this point.
Yeah, I think I saw, going into the corner that we are now approaching, Sparky made a little bit of a mistake, which allowed Kirk to get a run on him into this next section. And by going side by side through here, they ended up colliding, and it was a bit of a pinball effect, because Kirk hit the wall, which then in turn made him hit Sparky, and Sparky then hit the wall himself, so very unfortunate moment for them.
And with all of that going on, Ziggy has got back up to P1 as well, getting past Sarah on track, and Sarah then also comes into the pits for her pit stop. So Ziggy definitely making those soft tyres work for him. Looks like that Porsche is a little bit stronger on the soft tyres at the end of a stint. So interesting to see, as we do see Simon having a little bit of trip through the gravel. Well, that was an interesting lap or so. It just never seems to settle around here, does it?
Yeah, I mean, it's...
So, out front, Ziggy in P1. We've got a Porsche... Oh! Power sliding Tokyo drifting around the final corner, Ziggy. That rear right tyre looking like it's had better days. Same for Lee, almost identical tyre wear. So both drivers in this Porsche 1-2 teammates, we'll call them teammates. Definitely look like they're relaxing a little bit at the moment. Well, Ziggy definitely not relaxed in that final corner, but enjoying being out front. It can't be too long before they're in the pits and we get Bertie on that medium tyre take to P1. Well, Pedro, Kurt doing a good job. P4, despite the damage, I do suspect he will have a moment when he is called into the stewards for that for incident or two. Oh, big battle going on just behind with Sarah on the fresh mediums and Druid on the slightly older softs. Going round the left hand, Sarah catching a little bit of air, a little bit of dirt. Well, these two are
Yeah, it
always
was.
together, aren't they?
Yeah, I was about to say. Ever since Sarah left the pits, they've been fighting out on track, and we got another Hockey Airlines moment there. This season, they have been too many, actually. Times where she just goes through a certain part of the track and catches airtime, managing to control the car very nicely through there and keeping the position in the process. The Druid is becoming a bit of a menace here for Sarah. He might go up for the move. Oh, he goes straight on.
Well, that was unfortunate.
Oh.
A little bit contact into turn one. Sarah ending up off the track, but Druid doing the sporting thing and allowing Sarah back through. It looked like a hint of frustration there as Sarah got back on the power and almost spun the car. That was unfortunate to see for the pair of them, but good to see that Druid let Sarah back through. So kudos to Druid on that one. It's a shame about the incident overall. But that will be some time lost for Sarah in this battle for P1. There's Lee's in the wall. That's on. Lee's in the wall. Bertie takes P1. All kicking off at the moment. Ziggy is in the pits taking a full tank of fuel and going on to medium tyres. So I would put him as the net leader after that incident from Lee. But fortunately, it looks like he's only going to go 3 or 4 corners before coming into the pits. So you can see he's got no rear grip at all. So Lee into the pits.
He's in.
Yeah, that'd be for a fresh set of tyres. Sparky's still circulating with that damage as well as Kirk. So at the moment, the only ones with clean sheets at the moment are Bertie and Ziggy. Bertie holding the lead, probably going another 7 or 8 laps potentially. Could he be thinking about a 1-stop?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he at least considered that possibility. It's going to be very difficult, mainly because of the fuel. I'm not sure if the fuel will last you that long.
Well, he's got to get to lap 32. He's done 20. He's only still got half a tank. He can definitely do it. That is interesting.
Well,
there's going to be a question of tyres at that point. Can he get a set of softs to do the better part of half a race? That'll be... then again, he could just go to hard tyres. Keep an eye on Bertie. Bit of strategic genius moment. But Kirk having a bit of a moment in the previous lap where he was exploring the barriers again, and Dijon Cypher unlapping himself for half a lap. And here we go. We have Sparky running in P3, Haslett in P4, who is making his way back up the field after his lap 1 incident. And Chaos Druid has ended up very far back down the field, and he must have pitted after that incident.
He did. He did. I was about to say he pitted on that very same lap, but he only repaired the damage and put another set of softs on because he hasn't put any fuel in as well. So yeah, interesting to see what he'll do next. But yeah, it's definitely put him very far down the order compared to where he was. Unfortunately, he getting his first pole position in Nighthawk Racing. Currently down in P11, although we still have a long way to go until the end of the race, so he can still, he still has plenty of time to recover and create something different with the strategy. Yeah, let's see what he does next. But I'll tell you what, Haslett has been very quiet this race, up to P4. I know he's still yet to pit, so are some of the drivers in front, but there's a decent little recovery from him considering the incidents that happened in the first lap.
Quite right. At the moment he's got Druid for company, who is allowed to unlap himself if he's in a faster car, and considering the age of his tyres versus Haslett's age of his tyres, he is allowed to do that. Here we go, Druid down to 10-1, but you've got to... This is at a point when it is very much being a bit awkward for the leaders. He's got to get the move done quickly and move out of range so he doesn't create a aerodynamic wake for the car behind him as he sadly drives straight off the track, and Haslett's going to get back through. Should we tell these lads that they're not supposed to be racing each other?
Oh, keep it together, no. Oh.
I think we might need to tell these lads to be a bit careful going forwards, because that was interesting. But that was a change of underwear moments for Haslett there, who was facing 45 degrees towards the barrier at that point. So he almost has Druid to thank for keeping him out of the barrier. That was interesting.
Yeah, that has now cost him so much time to Sparky in front. It's not the ideal situation for Haslett to be in, but considering the whole range of scenarios that could have happened, the fact that he came out of that situation without any damage is probably a good thing. And Sparky having a bit of a moment there, but actually managing to keep the car pointing the right way. Very impressive.
Yeah, you spotted that as well.
Yeah, I was just having a look at it from the corner of my eye, and yeah, I'll also tell you what, Sarah, with that incident with Druid, actually lost out to Ziggy massively.
So just
did you spot anything?
Yeah, I just panned to Sarah on that point, and she clipped both walls into start sector 2 and got away with no damage, so a little bit of luck.
Yeah. And she didn't manage to keep the car without any damage, but as I was mentioning, that incident with Druid means that she's now roughly 10 seconds behind Ziggy, who is flying at the moment. Ziggy's been extremely quick, even with the medium tires. So, and I think Kirk is going to be the next to pit. Yeah, sorry there, Midnight.
Yeah, sorry, we got Druid making a nuisance of himself on Haslett again. He won't be thanking him for this one. But like you said, Kirk in, Sparky in as well.
Sparky in.
So, I think they've got to that point where they know they can go over to soft tyres for a 2-stop race and comfortably make it. So that will put Haslett up to P2, Bertie keeping that lead. It's a tricky one with the blue flags, isn't it, Pedro? I mean, it's one we've all had as drivers when you get lapped by a leading lap driver. But for whatever set of circumstances, maybe you've pitted or had an incident and fallen behind, you have the fastest car. So Druid has a conundrum. He wants to get through, he has to get through, but he has to do it in a manner which is non-awkward, which is a very fine line to tread, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely is, and around the track like this is definitely not easy, because there's not a lot of space to play with, and there aren't many places for you to know that you're going to be able to safely overtake the other car when you are that close together. So yeah, as you say, just something a bit finicky to manage.
Good word for it, and very accurate. And we got Sarah just getting past Bertie as he exits the pit. So Bertie looking very good actually. He's got a bit more fuel and much fresher tyres than Sarah. That fight that Sarah had with Druid really costing her probably 10 or so seconds, throwing her back into the clutches of Bertie on this one. But you have to say, maybe that's unleashed Ziggy from this one at the moment. He's looking very, very good.
Yeah, definitely showing that the promise he showed us in the sprint race is actually translating into the feature. It's looking mighty fast.
Sometimes you can just hook up and then off you go, which he's definitely showing he can do. We'll keep an eye on drivers such as Lee, who is closing in. Well, he's on the back of Bertie, so you've got Sarah, Bertie and Lee all together. And Kirk, now he's got that damage fix, to see what pace he's got. Because he's had damage from like right at the beginning of the race, hasn't he? So now
he's basically had damage since lap 3. And he was lapping extremely fast as well.
So let's see what pace he's got after that. Now, Sparky's got his car repaired as well in P7, followed by Degen Cypher, who hasn't had the best of races in this one, but like we said, sometimes you get tracks that really, really suit you, and other times it doesn't work out in your favour. But Bertie making his way through traffic. Looks like it's getting a bit tight there. Simon letting the lapping drivers through, letting Bertie and Lee through. And tell you what, Lee looks like he is zeroing in on Bertie on this one. We know Lee's a racy driver. Here we go. So, first round of pit stops out of the way, Pedro. Are we thinking anyone is going to try a one-stop? I don't think there's going to be... I don't think there's going to be any drivers thinking like that this time either. It's all going to be a fairly standard 2 or 3 stop.
I mean, the only that I can see at the moment probably trying to do an extra stop to the end is probably Haslett. Considering the way his race has been at the moment, but I don't think it's the fastest strategy, and it's just going to require so much fuel saving as well that I don't think it's going to be worth it, if I'm honest.
Do you know what? I'm going to give you that one. I think you're right. Haslett is the only driver that could possibly make it, but when he's running on fumes, Ziggy's right behind him with 2/3 of a tank and fresher tyres, and both only needing one more pit stop. So yeah, that's it might jump Haslett up the order a bit, but I don't think it's going to challenge Ziggy for the top spot on this one. And unfortunate, that is bad timing.
Oh!
Haslett into the wall.
He didn't get damaged though, which was good.
It's the plastic front end of that Ferrari, clearly. Just rebounding off the wall. But he's lucky, but sometimes you got. He's had a bit of bad luck so far, so now it's time to have him some good luck. So getting away with it.
Agree.
But that front right is not looking nice. He's going to want to come in soon.
It definitely wasn't. I was just having a look from P7. Cypher got really close to Sparky there, having to back off a little bit. But yeah, I think Haslett surely has to come in at the end of this lap, because he's lost quite some time over the last few laps, and those tires definitely aren't in good shape at the moment. Ziggy is right behind him as well, which means it might surely going to inherit the lead imminently.
Nope.
Haslett stays out another lap.
He decided no, but that will give Ziggy... again, like we saw in the sprint race, you see drivers taking very different lines around that final corner, and Ziggy and drivers like Sarah take a tighter line, which gets you is technically quicker, but it doesn't allow you to get the overall drive of another car and get into slipstream and get past it down to turn 1, so Ziggy might need to adapt a little bit, because even Haslett with those older tyres has got just enough grip to just keep out in front. But I guess we'll see. Ziggy on the back of that 296. The Porsche, he wants P1, but he's only got to wait really a few laps as Haslett gets a bit crossed up coming into the corner. Ziggy dives to the inside and will take P1 on the road. Haslett stays out.
Stays out again. Well, I'll tell you what, Midnight, sorry to divert the attention from this, but Sarah, Bertie and Lee are getting closer and closer. I thought Lee was going to go for a move on the previous lap into turn 1 because he was extremely close to Bertie. Decided to stay behind him for the time being. But yeah, it has been pretty close between these three over the last few laps.
Certainly has. Out front, Ziggy has now gotten away from Haslett. Like you say, these three all together fighting over P3. So running a little bit wide. That's going to give Bertie a run on her down to the left and right. Careful of the wall. And oh no, Bertie, that's grass.
Oh,
pile drive into the
Bertie.
side.
Oh, massive crash.
Bertie with big damage, Sarah with big damage as well. Lee will get past the pair of them. Sarah will, I think, dive straight into the pits. Yes, does so. Gets rid
No.
of that damage. That is unfortunate for the pair of them. The two Nighthawk have been coming together. That's always a part of the track where it can happen. And Hassler, in that confusion, has pitted as well. Sarah into the pits. It's probably a little bit too early for her to go to the end on a set of tyres. Maybe it's going to be a tricky one. Bertie into the pits as well, repairing the damage. Well, that's turned the race on its head a little bit there. Haslett gets out. Right behind Bertie. I mean, that is literally right behind Bertie. So Haslett thinking he's definitely going to go for another 2 stops, I think. The soft tyres will not go to the end from here. 30 laps, I don't think it's possible.
Yes, Sarah. He's on the mediums, actually. He's got a whole tank of fuel and he's on the mediums. And now, as you've said before, it's awkward because, as we've seen, Sarah was right at the leading pack. And now she just got lapped by Ziggy at the pit exit.
But if she can go to the end from there, it's going to be a tall order, 30 laps. But, oh, Sparky just getting past.
Oh.
I didn't see who that was.
Simon.
Whew. I thought there was another incident going on there for a minute. Yeah, if Sarah can go to the end there, that will at least mitigate the incident from that one. But that has really opened the door for drivers like Kirk and Lee to really get away from it. Lee's got damage somewhere. On the front of that Porsche,
Yeah.
the front aero is going to be hurting. That's going to hurt his charge up for P2. Looks like Kirk, in all of the pit stops and all of the shenanigans, has got up to P2 and is going to want to try and close Ziggy down. These two are obviously friends outside of Nighthawk Racing, have even been former teammates, so these two know each other very well. But I think the question is now, can Kirk catch Ziggy?
Well, I mean, Kirk has certainly looked pretty strong ever since he repaired that damage. He's got a bit of an advantage on tires at the moment, so... I mean, I think Ziggy just has such a big gap at the moment that I guess it would take, you know, probably a few mistakes for him. Don't want to curse him with the commentator's curse, but it would take him a few mistakes for that to happen. And I've seen that Lee picked up that damage from an incident on lap 34 through turn 4, I believe, just at the exits. As we've said as well, it's so easy if you know get a little bit of gravel or grass on that part of the track. It's so easy to make your car spin there. And that's precisely what happened to Lee. Unfortunately, lost control of the back end, hit the wall, but he's still going now. It's not looking too bad for him at the moment. Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait for what the next few laps are going to give us, really.
So easily done around here, Pedro. So easily done.
Yeah.
But battle on the track at the moment. Haslett and Bertie coming out line astern out of the pit lane. Bertie's going to be smarting after that incident, after getting up on the grass. And there's a race in Formula 1 which you might remember. I think it was about 2012 in the at Spa with Button and Vettel. When it got a little bit wet, and then Vettel ended up T-boning Button down into the bus stop. Very much reminded me of that.
Yeah, I remember that.
So he'll be smarting after that one. He won't want to remember that one. But moving forwards, lap 38, Bertie running P5. He still has a big shot of a podium here because Sparky's only a little bit down the road on that medium tyre, and then Lee with damage a little bit further down the road yet still. So the way I'm looking at it, Ziggy and Kirk are in the fight for P1, and you've got a four-way fight between Lee, Sparky, Bertie and Haslett for P3, depending on what Sarah can do, if she can get back A on the Lee lap or B go to the end. There's a shout for her to gain a few positions there as well. But Murph having a good solid drive in P7 as well there, Pedro. Really taken
we
up
haven't.
Season, hasn't he?
Yeah, we haven't mentioned him all that much in this feature race, but we do know that this Alpha seems to be suiting his driving style quite a lot. And around this track as well, having that car who is just so nimble and so good out of the distraction zones is really favoring him right now. I think Murphy's loving this car, and I'm really liking to see the way that he's been enjoying driving that car this season. So yeah, hoping to see some good results from him as well in the upcoming events, hopefully.
Interesting observation, Pedro. Kirk and Ziggy lapping within half a tenth of each other.
Yeah, I mean they've been almost matching their lap times. Indeed, I mean it's pretty curious to see. Though Ziggy is on an older set of mediums, it's showing that they've been able to keep that consistency no matter the state of the tires or how much fuel they've been having throughout these stints. Just the prowess that they have, really. It's wonderful to see the way that all of our drivers have been doing so far this race.
Quite right. And the pair of us both being former teammates of the top two in this one, Ziggy and Kirk, it's great to see the pair having a battle on track, sharing lap times and being so close to each other. It's quite exciting, particularly for myself in this one. And I think good for the wider audience seeing these two go at it with each other. And it's going to unfold as the race goes on.
Absolutely. I'll just like you to keep an eye at the moment. I think battle between 4th and 5th, between Sparky and Bertie.
Demo round, sorry.
Ooh.
Demo round in the final sector, clattering the barrier, having a 360 spin. And I think that was right in front of Kirk. So, sorry about that, but that was...
Haslett is out, sorry.
Haslett as well?
Yeah, he didn't pick up any damage, but he went off track there for a second, and he was super close to actually hitting the wall. That made him lose a little bit of time, but yeah, fortunately without any damage. But yeah, Sparky and Bertie...
Can't relax in this track, can you?
You just can't. There's so much action going on everywhere. Yeah, I mean, they're getting closer and closer now to one another. Sparky made a little bit of a mistake in one of the previous corners, which allowed Bertie to gain a few tenths on him. But then again, the relative gap has been almost the same, really. Then again, Sparky going a little bit too deep into that corner opens up an opportunity for Bertie to possibly go for a move. Only trying to set himself up for the braking zone into this final corner.
You have to be brave into that corner. It's possible, isn't it, Pedro? But the other driver has to be very receptive to know that you're going for it, or else you would meet in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and obviously with it being a downhill sort of braking zone and super bumpy, I mean, you really don't want to take any risks going into there.
Ooh, that's interesting.
But
he's definitely later on the brakes, not really making the apex, but he's now got the inside corner and forces Sparky to the outside, but Sparky's not going to give this one up too easily. Going side by side into the left-hander, but he does make it stick finally. That was a good bit of patience from Bertie there. He waited to make that happen, and now he has Sparky behind him. But it isn't going to be too much longer, but I feel that the soft tyres on that McLaren start to reverse on them a little bit, so he's going to have to try and pull a gap very quickly and then think about his final stop. I think at this point everyone's going to be thinking softs to the end for the last stop, but good driving there from the pair.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, Bertie just obviously trying to buy his time and force Sparky into a mistake, and that's exactly what he managed to do on that previous lap. Good bit of driving from both of them in the midst of all this battle, which is really good to see. And as you say, yeah, I think Bertie will definitely want to build a bit of a gap to Sparky before his soft tires just fade away. And yeah, I'd probably guess that everyone picks softs to go to the end in a few laps time, if that was the case.
Update on the battle out front. It does look like Ziggy's pace has reached the point where his tyres are dropping off. He's now doing high 53s, low 54s, with Kirk in the basically mid 53s. It's about 4 to 5 tenths a lap that Kirk is starting to close in, and with 20 laps to go, this is going to be close towards the end.
Yeah, definitely. Kirk managed to narrow that gap down to almost 10 seconds, I believe. A few laps ago, I think it was 14 or 15 seconds, so it's looking quite good for him at the moment.
Yeah.
He's got an advantage on the tire life at least, and they're pretty much the same on fuel. He just has, I think he has a little bit less fuel than Ziggy, but it's marginal.
So it's gonna come down to raw pace at this point. Kirk having run with big damage through the beginning part of the race. That has really cost him when you sort of look at it like that. If you say on average 3-4 tenths second a lap that he was missing in the first half of this race, he could have been right with or ahead of Ziggy.
Probably, yeah. You're quite right.
But that just proves that you really have to have a good, clean race, and it's always like the lottery. You have to be in it to win it. In this case, you have to be running without the damage to be in the top spot, which Ziggy has done. But Chaos Druid, he's doing another one again. But being fair to him, unlapping himself, he's got fresh soft tyres. He's been in again at some point, and Ziggy on old mediums, that was always going to be a thing. But he has to be compliant with the blue flag rule. He has to move clear of the lapping driver. So Chaos Druid would have to get out of there pretty quick. Bertie in already. That is surprising.
I'm trying to go for an undercut. That's definitely surprising, yeah.
That is very surprising. I can only agree with you on that one. That must be an attempt at a severe undercut to avoid anyone doing it to him. But you have to say, even 18 laps. Yeah, okay, to be fair, for Bertie, that's actually quite possible, so...
I think he might be able to, yeah.
He has got mediums, that is interesting.
Just not wanting to take any risks, probably.
He's looking a bit slow, actually. Oh no, there we go, he's picking up pace, just my eyeballs.
I reckon he thought that Simon was a car that he was fighting for position with, and probably trying to ease off a little bit to try and let him through, but yeah, he's right back on the pace again. But yeah, this is definitely a bit of an unexpected event here. It becomes a little bit more difficult to predict where he's going to end up after all of this, because obviously there's still quite a few drivers who need to take their pit stops. There's a yellow flag. Oh, that's Cypher to the last corner.
Having a bit of an oops moment. Can happen. Interestingly, on the last lap, we did see Kirk. He did a 54.7, so he's lost somewhere about a second to Ziggy. So either having a trouble lapping a car, or perhaps a little bit of an incident, but that fight is still very much on. But he can't afford to lose any more time against Ziggy if he wants to be in the battle for the win. Meanwhile, battle for 9th, Murph versus Druid. Druid on those fresh soft tyres around the outside. Good move from him. It's not gone the way he would have wanted this race, Pedro, from pole. But it's been entertaining. We can at least say that, can't we?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as you say, it wasn't the sort of the race that he was probably aiming for, but yeah, it looks like he's having quite a lot of fun. despite all of that. It's been quite entertaining to watch. Maybe a few drivers are thinking, well, it's been the ideal situation for them, but yeah, it's definitely been an interesting race, and I think Ziggy is going to go into the pits.
Yep, same time as DJ and Cypher, who will probably be repairing his damage as well. Sarah into the pits as well. That's...
Kirk goes in too.
Oh, Sarah's had some damage somewhere as well. Unseen by us, we do see Lee and Simon having a little bit of a ding-dong battle in the final corner. So we've got the two leaders in the pits, Ziggy and Kirk, as well as Sarah, who unfortunately has had the third incident of the race. But hopefully that's enough to go to the end for her. Going to the soft tyres for Sarah. Soft tyres for Ziggy. Ziggy back out right behind Sarah, funny enough. And Kirk's clearly got to be going for soft tyres. That will satisfy the 2-tyre compound rule. There he goes. Unfortunate for him, right behind Sparky, who, as we know, is a very interesting driver to get past. But Kirk with the fresh soft tyres, it won't be probably too difficult for him on this one. Hassler in as well. So top 4 from the previous lap, all in on the same lap. Bertie getting past Hassler in the pits. I'm still a little bit surprised with Bertie going for those medium tyres.
Yeah, definitely. I was expecting him to probably try and go a little bit longer and hopefully try to get away into the soft tires, but I think the mediums are probably the safest sort of option at that time. Just it will guarantee him that he can push without any sort of issues until the end, really, without having to worry about the tire wear factor.
Sparky in. Out front, we do have Sarah and Ziggy together. Hopefully that's not Sarah ignoring the blue flags, but it doesn't look like Ziggy's actually closing in all that fast. So maybe one for the stewards, but it could be construed as the gap is just about sufficient. But now that battle for P1, Kirk. He's looking racy. He loves a set of soft tyres. Ziggy's going to have to watch out. On that previous lap, we did see Lee get past Sparky coming out of the pit, so that's going to be another battle towards the end. And we've got Hassler joining the battle as well. So the battle is now Lee, Sparky, and Hassler for P4. "13 laps to go, Pedro." Ziggy in P1. It's been a great showing from him on this one as he sets the fastest first sector of the race. Will he take that fastest lap off Lee? We'll find out very shortly. But I would put money on, and there we go. Kirk also setting a purple first sector. So, the pace is hotting up.
Yeah, with the lower fuel loads and just those very fresh tires, I mean, it's going to be prime time for anyone to try and pick up the fastest lap. As we see Kirk barely taking it away from Ziggy.
There you go. Sarah letting Ziggy through as well. There's that clear air for him. But like you said, 44 thousandths. Kirk taking that fastest lap. We can possibly see Sparky and Hassler have an attempt at that as well in the 296s. They're not a slouch around here, are they?
Yeah, there's certainly still plenty of opportunities for them to try and snatch the fastest lap away. It's not going to be an easy task, but can definitely be done.
So, 10 laps to go, Pedro. Kirk is zeroing in on Ziggy. About 9 seconds there. He's taking another second or two out of Ziggy. It's just small increments, isn't it? I don't think it's going to be enough for him to catch him. It's going to be close towards the end.
Yeah, it's as I said, I don't want to jinx it, but it would probably take a really big mistake for Ziggy. Oh my days, as he scraped the wall there a little bit. I thought he was going to hit the other one. Yeah, it would probably just take a big set of mistakes for Ziggy in order for him to be able to lose P1 to Kirk. Although you'll never know. Just most important thing is to try to keep it out of trouble, and hoping that the pace is still solid enough for him to not to be at a big disadvantage to Kirk. I think they've got sort of similar levels of tire wear. Kirk with better rear tires, even feel they're pretty much matched. So it's game on for both of them.
I think that's right. Interestingly, Murph and Druid both pitted on the final lap, but Murph came in behind Druid, came out in front of him as Druid had some damage to repair, but that has just put them both out in front of Ziggy.
Yeah.
So has to let pit in again.
Yeah, I was going to say he hit the wall at the exit of the final corner, and that is unfortunate. That is I reckon he might also try to go for the fastest lap. I think he's got a big enough gap to cipher to know that he's still going to keep the position, but that definitely wasn't ideal.
Yeah, you see if he can pick up another 3 points for the fastest lap, but that has dropped him behind Sarah by quite a few seconds, but at least 10 seconds behind her. Yeah, that's how this track is though. 1 minute you're challenging for a position, next you are, well, frankly, in the barrier.
Yeah.
Druid's going to have to be careful because he's getting blue flagged. To be fair, so is Murph, and they've got the leader directly behind them. Ziggy flashing to be let by. They should, at this distance, be letting Ziggy through.
Oh! Druid, I thought he was going to go for a move there. Oh, bit of an awkward positioning there to let Ziggy through. I don't think it cost Ziggy too much time, but it was definitely not the ideal way to let him through. I think Murph would ideally try to move away as soon as possible.
Well, hopefully that has not dropped Ziggy any time. Murph should move out of the way. Perhaps into the final corner.
Oh!
Oh no, Murph,
Hit the wall there.
The wall there, mate.
Unfortunately, I think this also means that Ziggy is now only around 6 to 7 seconds ahead of Kirk there.
Yeah, Ziggy lost a lot of time on that lap, at least 2.1 seconds, and that was only a 9-second lead, so yeah, down to 6 or 7 seconds, so Ziggy can't have too many more of those. The lap traffic causing him quite a bit of an issue there. Kirk in P2 now has, funny enough, Druid, who seems to be involved in these, and Sarah between him and victory. But always it seems, Druid on the fresh soft tyres, having one of those races where he's never quite in the right place.
Oh my God, yeah, I mean, sorry, I was just having a look at Kirk there, getting just really loose out of the exit of the final corner. Managed to keep the car pointing the right way, but that has probably cost him a few tenths to Ziggy in front. And yeah, somehow Druid is always in between someone with a fresh set of soft tires. He's been asking his pit crew to work overtime, and a lot of fresh rubber being used there.
It's just as well we don't have a limit on the amount of fresh soft tyres that can be used.
Yeah.
Either way, so long as he's enjoying himself, we'll let him have it.
Yeah.
But now, barely one corner between the top two men of Kirk and Ziggy. So, on this lap, Ziggy sets a 53.4 of Kirk, a 52.86 tenths again. Oh, it's barely 5 seconds now, so the time is coming down every lap. But I don't think he's making a big enough dent. It's going to be possibly 2 to 3 seconds. I think Kirk needs another 3 or 4 laps, but you can see the pair of them on the same straight now, mostly the same corner, so he is getting closer. It's just going to be just a little bit too late, I feel.
Well, I mean, you never know. I think the gap is basically down to 3 seconds now, when it was on the verge of 7 seconds a few laps ago. I mean, it's still all to play for. Now Kirk is going to get slipstream from Sarah until she has to move away because of the blue flags. But yeah, things are getting more and more intense as the laps go. Ooh, Sarah getting a bit of a moment there, the exit. And Kirk moves... Well, Kirk gets past her. I think the only other close battle around track is between Lee and Sparky for P4 at the moment. Bertie seems to have got a bit of a comfortable gap to them.
Sparky looking a little bit light on fuel. He's going to be pushing his luck to get to the end on that. But he has slightly better tyres than Lee, so that'll be one to keep an eye on. So 2 battles at the moment, the battle for 4th and the battle for 1st. But yeah, like you say, Bertie in a little bit of no man's land at the moment. He's kind of in the sector or on the track all by himself, with most drivers coming through turn 1 apparently at the moment.
Yeah, I mean... But I'll tell you what, actually, in regards to the fuel, I think Sparky has sort of same amount of fuel as Ziggy and Kirk. Well, Kirk actually has got a little bit less fuel than Ziggy at this stage, so...
So it could be Lee's overfueled more.
Could be, yeah, I was going to say maybe Lee overfueled, but then again, it's not bad to have excess fuel. It just means that you don't have to worry about it until the end, even though it might, you know, cost you a little bit of time. It's better to be safe than, you know, risking losing more than, well, compromising your entire race over it. I speak from experience.
Me and you both. So, penultimate lap, Ziggy in the lead. Only a few seconds in.
Kirk!
You can't say he's not trying, can you?
Yeah, he's definitely pushing the limits of that Toyota Supra.
Interestingly though, I think the tyre wear for that Supra is kicking in. The pace is still there for Kirk, but it's becoming harder for him to extract the pace from it. With Ziggy, all he has to do, the tyre wear is looking far better on that. Well, as long as he doesn't do that, Tokyo Drift around the final corner. But he's going to have Druid for company into the final lap, who, again, surprisingly, has better tyres. But start the final lap for Ziggy into turn 1. Druid thinks better of it. But the last thing you want to do is have an incident with the leader on the final lap. Kirk in P2, Bertie no man's under P3. Lee and Sparky yet to start the final lap, but it does look like Lee has got away from Sparky. And Sarah definitely still sitting in P6, a little bit no man's land cutting the corner there. She won't want to do that too many times. But impressive drive so far. Ziggy coming into the final corner. He is gonna take the checker flag and the victory. His first feature race victory. He's going to be extremely happy with himself coming across the line to take the checker flag. Might even let Druid go. Nah, not today. Takes the victory. Ziggy P1, Kirk P2. Good recovery drive. Sarah will take P6, a lap down. Bertie is coming around the final. Well, he's coming into the final sector. Where are all the drivers? All in different
Sparky!
places.
Sparky is off.
Oh, Hassett takes P7. Sparky having a trip through the gravel on the final lap. Here we go. Bertie taking P3. I can only say he's going to be investigated for a slight incident around about lap 33-34 with Sarah. And Lee is taking P4, leaving no tyres left on his car, as per normal. Sparky P5, DJ and Cypher will take P8. And we have Chaos Druid P9, Murph P10, Damo P11, and Simon in P12. That was a bit of a hairy one, Pedro. Lots going on all over the place.
Yeah, with this being a short track, it just added a little bit more to the chaotic nature of this race, but extremely entertaining from start to finish, I must say. Well, just confirming what we have, discussed in the sprint. Ziggy just getting this feature race win. I mean, what an incredible race from that he had, really. Just once he took the lead of the race, even though maybe towards the end he was possibly getting a little bit more pressured because of the way that Kirk was narrowing down that gap. I mean, I think he still had everything under control. And yeah, very, very solid win for Ziggy. Speaking of Kirk, coming from the back of the grid, so P12 into P2, that is, and considering that he was running the majority of the first stint with damage, it's a very, very impressive drive from Kirk there. Bertie as well from P5 to P3, very solid race from him. You were questioning a little bit the way his strategy was going to play out, but getting that podium there, very solid result. Lee as well, had a bit of damage across a few stints, still a very solid P4. Sparky going from P9 to P5, pretty good drive from him. Yeah, just Sarah as well, unfortunate to have been involved in those incidents with Druid and Bertie. But she should be happy with her. She should be proud of herself anyway. Considering all of that has happened, she's still got a pretty solid position. And then, I think I'm gonna, don't want to lose too much time over analyzing the race, but yeah, just a very solid race from everyone, honestly. It's a bit different to the nature of the sort of nature of the tracks that we've been having on our calendar. It's just such a short track, so narrow, so technical, where every single detail can really have a big impact on your race. And we've seen it with a few of our drivers picking up damage that possibly compromised them in the latter stages of the race. Yeah, just super happy to see everyone finish this race. Hope everyone had fun, because yeah, it's the kind of track that allows for even more action than usual. And yeah, not sure if you want to add anything else, Midnight, to the race analysis.
Only a couple of bits for it to be fair, and yeah, I think we're spot on for all of that. But like you say, it's one of those tracks where a small incident can put you a lap down and into traffic, and it's a very tricky track, and it's good to see a lot of the drivers navigating it so well today. But just to give a rundown of the results with the distributing decisions, 3 time penalties awarded during that. Bertie, a 2-second penalty for the contact with Sarah through the S's. Druid for a 2-second penalty, which doesn't change in position. Damo had a 10-second penalty, which I think was contact with, I believe, DJ Cypher earlier in the race. But no position swap from any of the time penalties. But to run it down, Ziggy P1, Kirk in second, 3rd Bertie, 4th Lee, 5th Sparky, 6th Sarah Hawkey, 7th Haslett, 8th DJ Cypher, 9th Druid, 10th Murph, 11th Damo, and 12th Simon. So good result for a lot of the drivers today. Ziggy taking that first feature win, And like you said with Kirk starting at the back, a little bit of a case what could have been running basically half the race with damage, and he 2.5 seconds down at the end. But you could say Ziggy somewhat managed the gap. He didn't go faster than what he needed to, and you know, taking the win. He looked in control, which was very, very good to see. So Ziggy would be happy with himself. Kirk delighted with P2, and Bertie somewhat lucky, but well deserving on pace for P3. So well done to those 3 lads on that one. But Pedro, I think leads us to the obvious question, and I think it's a very hard one to pick.
Yeah.
Driver of the day. Now, I'm going to give you mine to begin with, to give you a little bit of time to have a think.
Okay.
In balance, I'm going to go for Lee for a very good sprint race, taking the victory there, and a P4 in the feature race. And he's been entertaining. He's been very measured when he's had to be as well, and involved in a couple of incidents which weren't necessarily his fault. And despite being on the gravel at turn 1 in the feature race, has come back to P4. So a great recovery drive from him, and quite frankly very impressive. But you have to give shout out to drivers such as Ziggy, and particularly Kirk, for that feature race. But for me, it's going to go to Lee. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you're spot on as well. I mean, I would also like to add Bertie to that group, because he finished with 2 podiums, 2 P3 positions here, and Sarah as well, who, you know, despite the incidents she had in the feature, she probably had what it took to finish in higher positions as well. So another impressive performance from her as well. But I think I'd have to agree with you. Lee getting that very comfortable win in the sprint, but it was a pretty solid finishing position in the feature. It's definitely a good shout. I mean, I think any of them, you could argue that they all deserve driver of the day, if I'm honest.
I would quite agree. But well, that's another race done. That is round 4 done. And quite frankly, I think I need a breather after that one, because that was a little bit of managed chaos all the way through it. Good few highlights, lots of good close racing between all of the drivers, but you know, I think we have to be looking forward to the next race now. And particularly, I urge people to go and check out the Red Lobby for this one as well. So if you want to see more Sardegna C, place to be. But Pedro, I think that's it for the Blue Lobby for today on this one. All I can say is thank you to yourself, Pedro, for being here, and for anyone wanting to see more of us, please check us out with the link tree provided in the description. Check out us out on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or even come and join our Discord. But Pedro, thank you very much again, and I hope you enjoyed yourself here like I did.
Yeah, thank you for letting me do the commentary on this one, and yeah, I think we do need to get to our cars for the red feature race, don't we?
We do. Let's go and do that before we forget. Thank you to everyone who has watched. Leave us a like, comment and subscribe, and thank you to the whole team and drivers out there. See you next time.
Yeah. See you, everyone.